Alright, so we've been doing a lot of testing with Noir for the past while now, and I kind of used like some Excel sheet to kind of record some of the findings that I have been figuring out. But this might actually affect some of your guys' decisions if you ever want to get more duplicates of Noir or not, or how much investment do you really need to do. And so just in general, overall, the conclusions that I have found is that Noir's buff doesn't get affected by overload attack percentage line. The first thing this is to note, but we don't know if this is a bug or not, because it could be similar to how Dorothy was before. But right now, her overload attack percentages is not affected, so it's only based off her base attack. So you, whatever her base attack is, multiply that by the attack percentage that she gets from her skill, and that will be how much attack she will be giving out. The second is overall, if you just plug in from a unit that doesn't have a buff to plug in Noir, she gives about a 7% damage increase, but that's assuming there's no other attack buffers in the group. So, and this is not counting her ammo benefits, which is another thing that it's not as straightforward how to count it, so I'm not really counting it, but that's something to just keep in mind. She does give about 7% attack. However, the more attack buffers you have, the less she will be affecting. It's like she starts with about 55% attack buff, she drops down to 5% damage increase on contribution only. So ideally, you probably wouldn't really want to partner her with litter as much as possible, because her buff doesn't really provide as much to it. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now let's go with another thing. Her buff doesn't scale with other attack percentage buff, so it's additive to the after the attack percentage is multiplied to the base. This means that the more attack percentage you have, the less it's worth. And to kind of illustrate that, what is basically so let's go just kind of get a refresher real quick. Final damage is basically this kind of multipliers. You have the base damage and then your other modifiers, which is like your crit damage, range, hit, full burst, elemental damage, charge damage, weak point, and damage taken debuff, right? So you have all of these as your final damage, and the base damage in particular looks like this. Base damage looks like character base attack multiplied by the attack plus the multiplier attack percentage. This is the attack percentage, and then minus the enemy defense power, and then you multiply that after the base or skill multiplier. But with Noir, what it actually looks like is actually you have the base damage multiplied by the base attack multiplied by the attack multipliers plus Noir's buff minus defense power, and then multiplied everything else. So Noir's buff is actually completely unaffected by all the attack percentage multipliers that you have. What does this mean? Well, regardless of how much attack percentage you get, she doesn't provide as much. So to give an illustration, I have Scarlet with no buff here, and she was dealing this much damage, and then I added Noir, and with no buff and at 0 stacks, she was dealing this much damage, 19. And then with 5 stacks of Scarlet, you have her with no buff. This is how much she has, and then with another 5 stacks, but you add Noir this time around, this is how much she has. So basically, with how much stacks Scarlet has, it doesn't matter. The damage increase that she got from Noir is still 1760. And this will and then I did a lot more other calculations or testings with other situations, and it proves basically consistent that that's the case. It is where there's like very similar things regardless of how much attack percentage multipliers you see here. I have litter and all all of these ends up being the difference is the same. So doesn't matter how much attack percentage you have, it'll be consistent. That Noir's damage increase is just consistently how much attack multiplied from her base multiplied by her skill. Another thing is upgrading skill gives about every 3 levels, so I'm kind of giving this an idea of skill 1, skill 4, skill 7, and skill 10 just to help you get a better idea. But basically every 3 levels she gives around additional 1% damage increase, and then upgrading the manufacturer from +0 to +5 tier 9 manufacturer gives about 0.3 to 0.5% increase. But note that this is actually when I'm high level. The manufacturer gears could mean more at lower levels, so the increase on you might be more than 0.5%. It could be, you know, up to 1% or something like that. The manufacturer gears have more effect on you at lower levels because the percentage increase will be higher, because yeah, gears start mattering. The base attack that I'm getting from gears start mattering less because of it. And then from 0 LB to level 1 affection 0 LB into max limit break, max affection, it increased my power from 63,000 to 68,000, which means that it gave about 5,000 attack, which is actually roughly the same amount of attack when you go from +0 to tier 5 9 manufacturer. What does that mean? For my level, which is at level 300, I will get about 0.3 to 0.5% damage increase when I get MLB. So what does it mean? For some of you, maybe this is a deal breaker. Oh, you're just getting 0.3 to 0.5% increase when you max affection. Then maybe it's not worth for you guys to get duplicates of Noir. So that's one thing. I did a few other calculations here, but yeah, but this is just showing the skill. The green ones are the skill upgrades, and then these peach ones are the manufacturer upgrades, like when I go from +0 to tier 9 manufacturer. And I did also a bonus thing, which is like doing some damage calculation here, and what this one is showing is this is the 5% to 7% damage difference that we have been getting based on it if we have used Noir instead versus like a raw damage increase. And this is like with Drake. So actually I did for fun thing, I did a comparison between Noir and damage increase and Drake's damage increase, and actually what comes out is I did a calculation because of the uptimes that they have. Noir has basically about 100% uptime with her damage buff, but Drake, she's only having the damage buff during full burst, so, or basically the 10 seconds after you do your full burst. And so what it comes out with is Noir does a little bit more percentage damage, about 1% to 2% more damage increase compared to Drake, just primarily because she has a little bit more uptime. And actually this is not considering also the Noir's ammo buffs and reload buff, right? Whenever you do a full burst at her skill 2. So this is not counting her skill 2 actually too, which actually overall should provide more damage because of that. So overall Noir is a quick upgrade, definitely a big upgrade compared to Drake. And then finally, I think last point to point out is Dorothy's burst. How is it really getting added? It's just straight how much is Noir's base attack multiplied by the skill buff percent, and then how that's basically additional to Dorothy's damage. Now finally, what I want to point out is what can we take away from this? Basically, as I mentioned earlier, the less attack buffer you have, the more meaningful Noir's buffs are. So obviously, other than Blanc being her optimal teammates, let's say for example you didn't get Blanc, If you didn't get Blanc, well, Novel is actually a good optimal teammate with Noir because, again, she's not an attack buffer. Dorothy is good because of the parts damage multiplier. You might argue that, oh, Dorothy wants less ammo, but then Noir gives like more ammo. It's not that big of a difference overall. The way I see it is still roughly the same. What might probably limit you is like usually you don't really use Privity when you're using Blanc and Noir, so that's probably one downside that I could see. But regardless, Dorothy is an ideal teammate for Noir because she has parts multiplier, and it's basically the idea behind, again, it's like these are separate multipliers and you don't want too many attack buffers, so like litter will definitely reduce Noir's efficiency. And then D, because like she has like additional multiplier for other things. And yeah, these are the main things that I would say. Different parts, different multipliers, basically all these other things that will increase the damage. So yeah, just that's the main takeaway from Noir. And do I recommend getting duplicates? From what it seems like to me, the damage increase is fairly marginal comparatively. That's because of just the way she is being calculated to everything else, and she doesn't really scale the more attack buffs you have. So yeah, that's basically it. Oh shit, do I need to do my plugin? No, chat. We gotta leave them the plugin. Add that. Click like and subscribe. Go visit my Twitch. Bam. Okay, now that I also did that, I can finally level myself up. I'm holding 28,000 core dust, and you know what, I need to upgrade more too. I have a bunch more. I literally didn't level up myself too. We're doing Union Raid. Holy, this one, the Challenger progress box. Oh god, how much are we getting here? Ooh, another level. We got a 10,000 there, but wait, there's more. I have 4,000. Oh,